Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 3 p.m. Central, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. It's always a fun ride. We appreciate you spending time with us every single day. You can find us on the radio, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and that's in North Alabama. You can also find us on television, channel 182, along with our abundant television found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the radio station, icradio.media. And also don't forget the podcast. And this is where you're really going to hear some truth as well. And you can find that at thenewscasters.com. I have a good friend with me right now. We are live at the Gadsden Mall, located in Gadsden, Alabama. We want to thank them so much for letting us be part of the Gadsden Mall. And if you are looking to expand a business, like sometimes you just have an idea for a business, and you want to get out there, and you want to go somewhere where you can have a lot of other people who support you, the Gadsden Mall is one of them. And so I wanted to mention this too about Kaylee, who is the mall manager here. And she's just taking a job promotion, by the way. But anyway, she is also, her background is retail. So guess what that means? If you're in a retail business, she's going to know the pitfalls. She's going to know the questions you might have for bettering your career and bettering your business. So she's just an awesome, awesome lady. So if you're thinking about doing that, go on ahead and see Kaylee at the Gadsden Mall. You'll be glad you did. Okay, Doug McGee is with me. He's with Second Chance Animal Shelter. We've been buddies for a long time, and I support every single thing he does. I'm going to say I love animals.
We do, and that's why Second Chance Shelter exists.
I would think you and Wanda probably like animals almost as much as I do.
I think Wanda would be the top of the list there. I mean, I really do. I mean, she's just got it in her. I mean, that she was born that way, and there's nothing going to change that. And the last thing you want to do is abuse an animal in Wanda's presence.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't
because
want to go there.
that's just her nature, and mine too. But I think I've paled in comparison to her.
I thought about this the other day. A lot of people say, what would Jesus do? WWWD. That would be what would Wanda do.
Sometimes you might not want to know if she catches you on the bad side of abusing an animal.
Abusing an animal. And we're about to get into the summertime weather too. It's about to get hot, and it'll get hot really, really fast, especially right here in Alabama where we can have all 4 seasons in one day. And so, I know we talked about this almost every show we do. But I want to talk about why you should not leave an animal or a child, especially a child, in a vehicle when it is hot outside.
People just act, and you think common sense to tell you, the temperature in a vehicle, if I'm not mistaken, within 15 minutes, if it's like 90 degrees, can be over like 130 degrees, or almost like an oven. And so we say this time and time again, we see it. If you can go to town without taking your pet, that's preferred. If it's some kind of animal you got to take with you, then make sure that you take it in with you. Don't leave it in a car. I've heard of one incident in Fort Payne Walmart where the dog locked the doors. They had the car running. They left the car running. The dog was in there. The dog locked the doors. If it's a quick trip to town, leave your dog at home. That's my recommendation. If you got to take the dog with you, if you just make sure the dog goes in with you, or if you have another person with you, but don't leave a dog in a vehicle, running or not. If it's not running, that's criminal. And if you leave a dog in a car in the heat in Alabama without it running, that could land you in jail, which rightfully it should, because it tells me you're stupid.
Absolutely. There's no other way to work at it. That's just the way it is. So take good care of your animals. Just plan these little trips. I know sometimes things happen spur of the moment, but it's really just leave your animal at home. Now you can find these, if you're afraid they're going to tear stuff up, you can find these nice little crates, and they're really nice ones. And a small dog, get a small dog crate. If it's a big one, get a big one, okay? You don't want a big dog in a little crate. But you can also leave them in those crates if you're afraid. You're just going to be gone for 30 minutes or an hour. It's not going to matter.
And the dogs will adapt to that. You'll be amazed how many people have dogs, and the dog starts to turn that crate into a comfort place for them. So they get used to it, and you can say, go to your crate, and most dogs will eventually, that'll become normal and become what they want to be in that crate. They'll know you're going out of town. They know you're going to come back in a little while, so they'll go to their crate. I wouldn't recommend leaving one in a crate a long time,
No.
but
But just to go to the store and back.
yeah, absolutely. But don't leave that dog in the car. I mean, well, like we've talked about before, if Wanda or a lot of animal people find your dog in a car in the summertime, you're liable to lose windows. You're very
You will.
possible. And I don't think now that there's anything you just have, you lost windows. So think about it. Just, and rolling, cracking a window down a little bit, that's not going to help a whole lot. Just don't do it. I mean, I don't know how to, and the same goes with children. Don't leave a child in a car.
I can imagine you would do that.
But people do. I mean, there's just a certain type of people who just don't. I don't get it. But those animals, they don't need to be baked while you're in Walmart. And I always say, especially somewhere like Walmart, you think, well, I'm just going to be in there for 5 minutes. I'm going in to grab a gallon of
You're
milk.
never in Walmart. Just for
Every
5
time I
minutes.
go to Walmart, I'm always I run into somebody I know, and they're chatty, and I'm chatty, and the poor animal is out there in the vehicle cooking, and it's for the child or whatever. So a little bit of common sense, and I know there's a short supply of that, and it seems in the world, but if I would recommend, if you're going to town, don't take your dog with you. If it's a service animal or something you've got to have, make sure it stays with you. If you got another person, then maybe that person could stay with the animal in the vehicle. But I don't know. We see animal cruelty and stuff like this all the time, and just don't do it. I mean, I'm begging you, turn your brain on and don't do it.
Don't do it. Now we talked about that, so that's another. But I wanted to talk about people who keep their dogs, and then we're going to get some lighter news. But I've seen this a lot lately for some reason. People who keep their dogs chained up and like on a tree or something. I mean,
we get those calls a lot too, and most of the time when they call the shelter, it's on a weekend because there's no animal control anywhere pretty much in Alabama on the weekends, and constantly people calling us saying, hey, there's a dog, my neighbor's dog, it's on a chain, and I can see its ribs, it's starving to death on a chain. It's different areas have decent animal control, we'll go out and investigate it. But once again, now the chaining dogs up, this is 2024, we're sending the space vehicles to the Mars. We need to do better than chaining dogs up. There's certain towns like Arab, Alabama, and Albertville, Alabama is starting to talk about it a lot, that are getting no chaining ordinance, no tethering ordinances, and I'm hoping that catches on. I'd love, up north, a lot of states have laws that prevent that. Chaining a dog up, as necessary as you may feel, is just not a good option.
Well, and I wanted to ask you something else because I have seen a dog in a chain. It was just a chain. It didn't even have a collar.
Oh, that happens regularly.
Oh, that's terrible. And I saw one on television that was so bad that the dog's hair was actually growing to the chain.
We actually had a dog that we got that we named Chain because we had to have the chain surgically removed from his neck. The chain was grown into his neck, and we took it to the vet, and the vet had to remove the chain, and that's happened several times. They put it on when it's a puppy and leave it out there, and the dog grows, and then the chain just kind of grows into the neck, and you can't just pull it out. The dog, it would probably kill the dog. The vet has to surgically remove it. We've seen it. We've seen all that. We've seen dogs that have actually starved to death on chains. We've seen that kind of situation. I saw one where they had a metal collar, and they used a welder to weld it onto that dog. And if you're not familiar with welding, you wouldn't know. But that's a hot process. Yeah, that's a hot process. So that welder had to be within inches of that dog's neck while they were
to
welding.
be able to get it on there.
And of course, it's not coming off unless you cut it off, which that's what we ended up having to do. Chaining dogs, and I know people instantly you're going to start having people, oh, that's the only way I know how to keep them up. Chaining dogs in Alabama should be illegal. I'm just going to say it straight out. Now, I'm not talking about if you're mowing your yard, putting them out on the stake with a chain to keep them from aggravating you while you're mowing. I'm talking about that dog that's got a logging chain around his neck, stuck to a tree.
And it's raining, all kinds of crazy
with no dog house, or something like that. That's just cruel. We have got to do better. Allowing inhumane treatment like that of animals. And I've had people say, how do you know it's cruel? How do you know that dog, he don't know it? Yeah, they do.
When they're crying, they know.
They do.
Well, I was going on the way home from the station one day, and so this is when I was working at another station, and thunderstorm warnings were out. and I passed by and I saw a dog chained to a, I don't know if he had a collar on or not. I just saw the chain and I saw he was chained to a tree and there was thundering lightning and that poor dog was shivering.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to rescue that dog so bad.
Oh, we get those calls all the time too. People say, "I'm going to steal that dog. Can y'all take it?" Because people will see a dog out in a situation like that, and they're bound and determined to do something, and they call us saying, "If I get that dog, can you take it at the shelter?" I'm not even going to tell you how we respond because I don't, I plead the fifth or whatever. I mean, I'm telling you, because we're animal people, and it's just not right. I mean, and I think as society, we've got to realize this is not right. We're not going to allow this to happen as long as we're part of this society.
Well, let's talk about this for a minute. Okay, so you can't afford a dog collar. I have been caught in a tie. One time, Buddy broke one of his collars. Well, and then we were going to go somewhere and knew somebody was coming over as a repair person, so I had to keep him in his pen.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what I did. First of all, I was in a pen and I had to put him on a chain. But this is what you can do. You can get a belt, like an old belt or something that you're not wearing anymore, and that can suffice until you can go buy a dog collar.
Yeah, that would work. I mean, it really would. Just leather, and it would work. As far as what are some more options other than chaining? Of course, we're the kind of people who have our dogs in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people would never allow that. Okay, that's your personal preference. I'm not faulting you for that. You got kennels, and you can buy them online, like discount. There's a lot of people that sell used kennels, so you probably could find one. There's the electric underground fence where the dog can roam. There's a lot more options, but
Tell me about that one. I've never heard of that one.
yeah, they're underground fences, and the dogs learn. They have a tone, and it connects to the collar, and the dog gets a mild shock. They're not foolproof. Sometimes if the dog gets out of a fence like that, they don't want to come back in because they've been shot.
Mm-hmm.
But they do work. There's so many high-tech methods now to contain a dog. Chaining should be a past practice. It shouldn't be continued anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want my dog to be able to roam outside because and he protects my chickens.
There you go.
And so if he sees a predator out there, he's going to run the chicken. He's going to run the predator off because he's been trained to love the chickens.
Yeah, there's so many. That goes. If you have a lot of property, that electronic fence thing. There's a thing now that you can buy at most of your big places like Lowe's and all. Mm-hmm. You set it by your phone. How much distance, say the dog collar, so say 50 feet or 100 feet, you kind of have it determined. And if he goes within out of that distance, he gets the shock, a mild shock. Mm-hmm. And normally they have a bell or like something that goes off to alert the dog that he's within range of getting shocked, and they learn. They're trainable.
Uh-huh. Well, see, we live in the country. We have 38 acres of land, but there's a busy road. It used to be a country road, but now a lot of traffic goes by there. I don't want him close to the road. I don't want him chasing the cars. I don't want him because I love my dog. I mean, he's part of the family. So something like that would be really good to keep Buddy away from the road.
Yeah, because you can set the distance. You can say, okay, it's 100 yards from here to the road. Mm-hmm. Set it at 75 yards. He gets close to that 75-yard point. A beeper goes off. The dog's alerted. He don't need to keep going, and he doesn't. It's worked. It's not foolproof, but it's a lot better than chaining him up on a tree. And I'm telling you, mm-hmm. I hope somebody that can make a difference hears me and decides that to make a movement to get where tethering dogs on a logging chain is just not acceptable. Mm-hmm. 2024 Huntsville with all the rocket stuff going on there, and we're still doing this. It's just not right.
It's backwoods. It's
It's backwoods.
I can't believe that this still happens.
But it does, and I'd like to change that. I would love to have that momentum to get that changed. I do want you talking about good news. We have a dog named Fergie at the shelter, and Fergie came in when she was young, and I don't know what happened to her, but she must have been. The humans must have definitely not treated her well. I mean, she's been her whole life. She's been at the shelter now for 11 years, I think. I mean, she's still nervous around people. The girls that work there can pet her sometimes if she senses something's wrong, she's just nervous. Mm-hmm. They feed her. She's had a pretty decent life, but she's been at the shelter. One of our volunteers put a thing on Facebook about her, and we started getting. She's going to home after 11 years. She's actually 13 years old now. She's an old dog, still in real good health. She's going to a home in Wisconsin, April next month. And that's just too cool. And once that went online, yesterday we got a call, 2 calls from North Carolina, one from Jasper, Alabama, one from New York, one from San Diego, Tulsa, Oklahoma. All these people who are interested in adopting Fergie, and Fergie she's going home. So some of you, there are articles in like 30 newspapers across the country, Miami Herald, about her. And so if anybody is familiar with the story of Fergie, she has got a home. And I'm sure today we'll get more calls, people wanting to adopt her because they're just wanting to help that dog. But keep in mind too, Fergie's not the only one. We have a lot of long timers that have been there.
A lot of beautiful dogs.
We do, and a lot of them have been there for a long time, and by no fault of their own. It's just when people come to the shelter, 9 out of 10 people say, "Do you have any small dogs or any puppies?" That's just what people want, and that's just the nature of people. So a bigger dog or older dog kind of gets stuck there, and they wait and they wait.
Man, I love my big dog.
I know, yeah, people do. They love them.
Buddy is the best dog, and I've always had big dogs. Now I had a Chihuahua one time, little ankle biter, it was one of those. But there's something about a maturity of an older, bigger dog, and I'm gonna tell you what, they will love you with all their might. They're gonna love you. It doesn't matter what kind of a weird day you've had.
And
they sense that.
And people have, so many people, I wish, I'm a statistics kind of person, I wish I could have kept track, have got a bigger, older dog from a shelter, and the next time you see him, whether it be a year later or 5 years later, there's comments like, "That's the best dog I've ever had. That's the most loyal dog, the most." Now I know the hypocrisy of people just drives me nuts sometimes. I have seen, and I'm a big man, and I have seen a whole family my size or bigger come in, be 5 of them, and they're all large, big people. And I'm not saying anything, but they'll just insist on a dog that don't weigh more than 10 pounds or something. They got to have it. Open your mind. The difference between 10 pounds and 40 pounds or 10 pounds and 50 pounds. I mean, yeah, it's a bigger dog, but I'm telling you,
but he's 80 pounds.
Wow, that's a big dog.
He's 80 pounds of love.
Most of our dogs are around that 50-pound range, and they are such good dogs, and most of them are just wanting, and I want people to expand what's in their comfort zone a little bit.
For some reason, they're not selfish dogs.
And
they're so loyal to their owners. Every big dog I've had was like that. We had a dog, Ringo, grew up with Ringo, and he was a huge dog too. I think he weighed about 70 pounds, not quite as big as Buddy, but he was full-blooded German Shepherd. And he was so loyal to us. And I'll tell you what my dad used to do. If there was a guy coming over to see me, Dad didn't like him, he'd go, "Get him, boy." and then I would look out the window and go, "Stop, Ringo."
Yeah, big dog, that is, it's just the safety factor. I mean, if you got a big dog,
you don't need a gun when you got a big dog.
That may, if you're
if you don't like guns.
If a burglar comes to your house and he hears a yapping Chihuahua, he's not going to be nearly as intimidated by a barking German Shepherd or something like that. Not that that's the only reason you should have a dog. To me, our dogs are like our kids. I mean, that's just the way our home is. But your dogs are there, and like I said, a bigger dog can be more but just able to intimidate more. So maybe,
Buddy can, and we're in the country, so we're basically all Buddy sees. It's just us. So he thinks anybody else is a predator. So when we know somebody's coming over, we always, put him up in his pen. But he loves us so much. And I'm gonna tell you what, there was a death in the family, and I remember coming home. It was a little sad time, and I remember coming home and Phil and I went out there to feed Buddy, and he was so sympathetic. It's like they sense something. They know something is wrong.
They do. I can tell if
he was so loving.
If Wanda or me are not feeling good, and not just like sick, I'm talking about maybe blue about something. It seems like our dogs definitely are in tune to it. We're going to learn. Right now, once in 2024. I'd say over the years, we're going to learn more and more and more about what they're capable of feeling, learning, and then we're going to be ashamed of how we will have a time when we'll look back and say, "Man, I can't believe people used to do that with animals." Any animal. I'm not talking about I think all animals have a,
Well, God created them.
yeah, that's it.
enough.
And we're connected to them.
That should be enough right there for anybody. But this is you can actually train your dog. So now Buddy can be a little hard headed, but I'm telling you, he knows he doesn't get a treat. And I think they recognize sign language more than they do what we say, and probably our tone of voice too. So this is what I do. He knows he doesn't get a treat until I say, sit. And when I think he's watching that more than my voice, I'll say, sit. Well, he sits.
See, mine, we have a dog named Sadie that we've had for I don't know how long. And I've got my, like Archie Bunker used to have his chair.
Yeah.
I've got my place on the couch. And as soon as I get up, I guess because it's warm, she'll sit in my spot. And when I come back, I do like that. I don't have to say a word. I do like that, and she'll get up.
I
And
know.
sometimes she's not happy about it, but I'll do like that, and she'll just get out of my spot. So yeah, I think that they're smarter than we give them credit for, and we've got to do a better job. Man, this is up and down. The story about Fergus, he was great, but I want to tell you one other thing. In December, people call us every day. Can you take my dog? Can you take my dog? And we can only take so many. So a frequent answer is not now. Send me a picture. We'll see what we can do. Mm-hmm. That's not good enough for some people. In December, 19 dogs were dropped at the shelter. We would come in the morning and there's a box of puppies or a dog tied to the fence. It keeps us on our heels. It overloads us because it's very, very frustrating and aggravating. Last week, Monday morning, come in and there was a puppy in a box. Somebody left. The girl that came in first, about 6 o'clock, she came in, found it, and probably 2 minutes later, the puppy died. It was probably already sick, but it died just as soon as she picked it up. That was it. The next night, I'm down there around 7 o'clock, and a volunteer said before I got there, she said that somebody had come by with 2 dogs in their vehicle, and it was after dark, so they were going to drop them off, but she confronted them and they left. Apparently, they put them out somewhere close, and one of them was at the end of the road, ran over by the next morning. So I'm begging you, once again, if you've got a dog, work with us. We'll do everything we can to help you, but don't drop a dog at the shelter at nighttime. And I know it's not going to matter. People are going to do it anyways. This month we'll have so many, and it just it throws everything out of balance. Not to mention, I don't know. It's going to come back to you, I think. I really believe that's just a heartless act, because the one dog that was put out in the pickup truck probably ran up the road following them, and of course, he gets up on the highway and that's gone. Of course, we buried it. We buried we buried a stranger's dog because they were sorry enough to drop it off in the middle of the night. So don't do that. I'm asking from just as a decent human being, if you've got a dog,
just don't do it.
Yeah, just don't drop it off at the shelter in the middle of the night. But it's just people are going to do it, and I get it, because our only choice is either take it in, keep us overloaded where we can't operate efficiently, or call animal control, and then they're going to kill the dog anyway.
Go to animal control. I know y'all do everything you can to keep that from happening.
Yeah.
So what is the capacity? How many dogs can you handle at the shelter?
Oh, we'd like to get to 200, but we're always closer to 300, and that's been that way for years. We keep about anywhere from 250 to 300, and we're rotating them out constantly. About 80 to 100 go out every month, 80 to 100 come in every month. What jams us up is dogs like Fergie that have been there a long time, so it really does help us when people adopt an older dog that's been there, because that's kennel space. You look at it like a motel in a way. We have an occupancy, and if somebody stays in that room for a long time, actually kind of interferes with our occupancy. But we do a good job, I think, of maintaining 300 dogs. It's too many. I'd love to have 200. That way everything could be a little more easier to handle. But we're always, things that keep us on our heels, like I said, is people dropping off in the middle of the night. Everybody wanting the puppies and small dogs, the bigger dogs, that kind of keeps us jammed up. So if you want to adopt, if one person that hears this, when they come to the shelter, will go towards a bigger dog instead of a small, it's worth it. I know people like little dogs, and there's restrictions, like housing authority people. I think the weight limit is 30 pounds.
That's something you need to know before you get a dog.
Ask your landlord. If you rent, there's 2 questions you need to ask your landlord before you even get a dog. Can I have a dog? Because most landlords, a lot of them say no, and a lot of them say, well, you can if you give me $1,000 pet deposit. And in some places, like a lot of apartment complexes, yes, you can have, but it can't be a pit bull mix, or it can't be more than 30 pounds. Mm-hmm. Know what your lease and your landlord says before you even, if you're thinking, I want a dog, come check that before you do anything.
Well, you don't want to fall in love with a dog and then find out that you got to bring it back.
Happens. We've had, we don't have the way to investigate. If you tell us you live somewhere, we don't really have the way to investigate. I mean, did you know that you can't have this? Some places we do. Anybody comes from the housing authority, the rule's always been 30 pounds. So if somebody comes from the housing authority and wants to adopt, we'll say, hey, before you adopt this one, you do understand, and then that keeps things kind of in check. Mm-hmm. But if you live in a house by a landlord and his rules are his rules,
that's the way it is.
Right or wrong.
Bad experiences from people who didn't take care of their animals is why.
That's right. Or somebody tear up the house or let the dog tear the house up. And
blame it on the dog.
And one other thing I would recommend is you can go online. Every city, if you live in a town or even a county, but mainly the cities, go onto your city's website and check out any animal ordinances. A lot of the smaller cities don't have any, but towns like Albertville, and they have ordinances, and find out what that says. Like Albertville has a pit bull ordinance. If you have a pit bull, it's got to be registered. You have to have insurance, all those things, and it's different from Boaz. They may not have the same ordinance. Gadsden now has a spay and neuter ordinance. So check your landlord first. If you rent, check your landlord. If you don't rent or whatever, check your city ordinances. And that can be found real easy. Go to whatever city you live in, look at their city website and type in city ordinances, and you can probably put animal, and that'll kind of tell you what you need to do. Because you don't want to get a dog, go home, everybody falls in love with it, and all of a sudden animal control shows up at your house and, hey, you got to register that pit bull and cost you $1,000 a year. You don't want to do that to happen. So a little pre-work, little planning.
It'll save everybody a headache. You're going to have crying kids wanting to know what happened to their dog.
That's right. A stitch in time saves 9.
Absolutely.
So, a little bit of thought on that end will save you a lot of grief later on.
Absolutely. Let's go into a commercial break.
Okay.
We'll be right back in just a few minutes. We got to pay for this, Doug. We'll be right back.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community. Whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need, toys at Christmas, or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers.
My Towels solved the problem that we've all had with towels. You go into the stores and they feel lotiony and soft, but then you get them home and they wind dry you. That's why I made My Towels. They actually work, they're soft, and they absorb. And now I'm excited to announce 2 brand new lines of My Towels. What makes them the best towels ever is they're now made with 100% long staple Shapir cotton. This is a combed ring spun cotton that makes My Towels even softer and more absorbent than ever. And now you get a 6-piece set for an amazing introductory sale price as low as $29.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get My Towels for only $29.98. Or you can get my designer premium line for just $20 more. Either way, you save 50% now on all My Towels. They actually work. What a concept. This offer won't last long, so please order now.
MyPillow.com.
Good afternoon. We're back. My name is Donna, and I am your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show. Thank you so much for watching us every day. We definitely appreciate it. Monday through Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. We are live at the Gadsden Mall. Wanted to thank them for letting us be here today. Absolutely awesome. If you're thinking about starting a business, you want to expand your business, maybe go to the food court. I'll just have to tell you, Kaylee knows what you've gone through because her background is absolutely retail. And so she's going to know what kind of answers for you, not everything, but most everything. She's going to be able to help you and guide you through having a successful business because she wants you to be successful. She's the mall manager, so Kaylee Johnson, make sure you ask for her. Call the Gadsden Mall. Come check it out. I think you'll be very pleased. Right now would be a good time to go ahead and start your business with you're going to have Mother's Day coming up. Easter's just right around the corner. It's going to be this month. Wow. So you got Mother's Day coming up, and then you're going to have 4th of July. You're going to have all these great, great events coming up that you'll be able to sell to a lot of people. Now, if you're new to the area, and maybe your spouse just got transferred into one of the wonderful companies we have here in Gadsden, Alabama, and you're thinking about starting a business, and maybe you just don't know people. This is his own community right here at the Gadsden Mall. You've already got folks that you're going to know, you're going to be friends with for life, other business owners, customers who come in and out. It's a great way to get established in the community. Also wanted to mention the Etowah Chamber of Commerce. They are absolutely awesome. And I want to thank them because they air the show here every day as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, at the Chamber of Commerce, it's a great, big, huge screen TV they have, and they use the Roku channel to do that. So I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for that as well. But again, thank you so much for watching. My friend Doug McGee is with us. He's with Second Chance Animal Shelter, and we've got a passion, you and me, and Wanda and Phil has come on board. We've got a passion. I'm going to tell you what, Phil, he didn't hate animals. He was just not the animal lover that I was. So he said being married to me was like being married to Ellie Mae from the Hillbillies because I wanted like every dog and every cat and everything else. And so he loves this big dog of ours. Now, he didn't want me to get Buddy.
Oh, wow.
He said he's gonna, yeah, I know how you are because there's a lot of cars come by. He's gonna wind up getting run over. I'll have 6 months of, letting you heal over that and all those things. And he loves Buddy now as much as I do.
You know, we hear that a
He
lot.
grows on him.
There are a lot of people who one spouse or the other is not an animal person, and by the time it's over, they just connect with you. We hear that constantly. Somebody
He
else.
walks Buddy every morning.
Oh, wow. See, that's good because it's too healthy for him.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Both getting
See,
exercise.
that's good. I mean, dogs are, they are a good motivator to get some exercise. Yeah, a lot of people, they kind of grow on them. It's something that maybe they didn't want. My granddad, after my grandmother passed away, he was never really, especially in the house kind of thing. Well, a cat showed up at his house, and he started feeding the cat, and he'd walk. His mailbox is probably 100 yards from his house, and that cat would walk down to the mailbox with him. I mean, it became part of his life. Yeah, it did. I mean, animals are definitely, they're companion animals. That's what they call them. Cats or dogs. So
Man's best friend for a reason.
that's it.
Absolutely.
And they're our best friend, but we need to treat them like they deserve, and not get by with the stuff that we allow people to get by with.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about, I know you guys could use some volunteers out there, and let's talk about how a person could become, I'm a volunteer, so let's talk about how a person could actually be a volunteer and what are the steps you need to go through.
It's the easiest thing in the world, and the best thing is to start the process. Get up off the couch and decide I want to do something to help the shelter, and then come to the shelter and we'll take it from there. Don't expect. If you come to Second Chance Shelter to volunteer, you'll probably get overwhelmed at first by 300 barking dogs. And you don't have to if you're just not really a dog person, you just test the idea of a dog jumping up on you. You don't have to do that.
There's other things you can do.
Right, you've done landscaping and gardening work. There are so many other things you can do. Right now, we have what's called the aluminum can drive going on to run funds for the shelter. A lot of this is done by kids that get in trouble for vaping, but we're crushing the cans so we can transport more on the load. You can do that. You can landscape. You can mow. You can paint. You can build. You can pet dogs if you want to. You can clean dog mess if you want to. Anything you want to do, we can use you at Second Chance. It doesn't matter. Of course, we'd like for everybody that comes out there to be a dog person because we're dog people. But don't let it limit you. I'm telling you, volunteers are the core of how we survive. There's a lot of things they've done. Recently, we had a floor in our office. The moisture had messed it up. Had to be replaced, and it was two of our workers helped, but we had a volunteer that actually did the work and replaced the floor.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we've had trees cut by volunteers. A tree fall on the property is going to fall, or it has fallen, and we've had volunteers come with a chainsaw. They spend 2 or 3 hours. They do a great service for us, and it just works.
And it's a great way to teach compassion. Like if you have a church group, the youth group, have them come down and volunteer for stuff.
That's right. If you have a group of people, that is one time when we ask you maybe give us a heads up they're coming. Individuals can come anytime, and we'll find something to do. When you have 2 or 3, we don't want you to come up there and twiddling your thumbs thinking, well, this is boring. We want you to have a good time or a fulfilling time. You might not have a great time, but if you're at the end of it,
you'll have a great time, I promise you.
If you feel like you've done something for the good of the shelter and for the good of the earth or whatever, that's what we want. If you have a group, call us, and we can maybe kind of come up with something that we think would be reasonable. We're not there to entertain you. We really need the work. But on the other hand, we also want you to feel like you've accomplished something. We've got a group they're coming from, I can't remember where they're coming from, a group of 9th graders to 12th graders coming from a school. I can't remember what school it was. I just heard about this morning, but they're coming out to help, and we'll find something for them to do. And it may be doing something that's not related to dogs. It might be moving trash. I don't know what it may be, but we'll find something. Volunteers, we need you. We love you. We really need all the help we can get because we have employees, but there's 2 things. Employees are expensive and they work their hours. It's a job. So we need somebody to kind of fill in all the places where maybe employees are too busy doing something else that they're doing. So yes, volunteers are welcome.
You know, another volunteering, if you would love to just have, you can adopt, or if you just like to have an animal for the weekend, want to go, maybe your spouse doesn't like animals, or maybe they're allergic to animals, but you just need a pet. Take it for a walk.
I say I'm so glad that you mentioned things like that, because we have what we call it Doggy Day Out. It's been proven that even if a dog, now I know it's difficult, it's hard for people to wrap their mind about it. You think, I don't want to pull the dog out of the shelter and have to go back to the shelter. Don't worry about that. It's been proven that it benefits, just like a vacation.
It's like us, we don't want to stay in the same room all the time.
That's right. So we had a girl come out the other, and she actually asked that question. She's 16 years old. She came out there with her dad, and she wanted to start getting a dog like on Saturday, take it to the dog park or whatever, and give it a little break, and then bring it back either Saturday evening or maybe keep it overnight and bring it back on Sunday. We love that, and the dogs love it. We have a little screening process. We got to make sure that you're going to be able to, if you're weighing 100 pounds, you don't need to take a 120-pound pit bull that can drag you around. So, we little screening process, but we can pick out a dog that would be perfect for you to take it away for a day, give it a break, let it have a different way. And it's good for the dog because it helps keep them socialized and around different people. So, yes, fosters, we call that a weekend foster, but we also have long-term fosters. There's so many opportunities. If you just have a knack, say 2024 is the year I want to do something for somebody other than myself, and sitting in front of the TV or playing on your phone, come out there and give us 30 minutes. Commit to 30 minutes and just see if it doesn't make you feel better.
It's going to make you feel a whole lot better. And something else, if you have kids and you're just at this, I don't know if my kids are too young to have a pet. I don't know. It'd be a great way to try it out.
That's right. Yeah, come out there and let them just see how they react. We've actually had people come out and to adopt a dog, and they're just convinced that that child will be freaking out because they can't, they're not used to it. Mm-hmm. It's a good way to come out is come out there and let them volunteer and just see how they react. Some kids are like some adults. They just don't want to be around a dog. On the other hand, some kids, you can just tell they're like a duck in water. They come out and they're running after dogs and playing with them. So it really, it's a good way.
I've never met a dog I didn't like.
Oh, I haven't. The volunteer process for a child, if you're under 13, the adult needs to plan on sticking around with you. Yeah. We're not a babysitter. That's not what we're there for. If you're 13 and up, I would, if I was an adult who loved my child, I might stay around for a little while, make sure they're going to be okay with things, and then they're free to go. Once we realize that the 13 or 16 or 15-year-old is going to be capable of helping us out, then they can come out and they can. And we've had two I know who work for us right now that started out as volunteers. Mm-hmm. They volunteer, they get to an age 16 where they can work, and all of a sudden now they're employed and they love it because they were familiar with it before they started. So, and if you want to be a veterinarian, you're at home right now, and you're a high school kid thinking I want to be a veterinarian, this is a great experience. Mm-hmm. You can come out there
and put that down on your resume.
Yeah, that you volunteered at the shelter. That might help you get credits for going to your university for vet school, and it gives you an idea. You just don't know. At 16, you might think I want to be a veterinarian. You come out there, and 2 weeks later, you think this is just not for me, because you learn a lot. It's very educational coming out there.
And if you're thinking about being an attorney, sometimes all employers want to know is that you were busy doing something. And being a volunteer, a lot of companies are hiring people that the reason they're hiring them is because they're trying to get out there in the community.
Yeah, we had a man that came out the day before yesterday that he's applying for citizenship in the United States. For whatever reason, he came to us. He made a donation. He brought dog food and all that. He wanted a letter from us to turn into whatever agency was helping him become, because as an indicator that he was going to be a productive citizen.
That's productive.
It helps him to gain his citizenship. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
and we love you if you want to be a citizen.
That's right. Dog lovers want to be citizens. I don't have a problem with that at all. We need more of them.
I just think that's the thing to do.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about, sometimes you have pets who are at the end of life.
Hmm.
And there are some people who just have a knack for, they want dogs like that in comfort at the end of their life.
Yeah, with us, we call that a hospice foster. Of course, some people adopt them. Dogs at 12, 13 years old, they're not too far from the end of life. I mean, just like people, you get to a certain age, it's just a fact. And we need, nothing to me is sadder than for a dog to be at that shelter and for years and die at the shelter. That to me, it's just sad, and I don't know how the other way to put it. We would love, if you think I'm going to take that dog in. We had a lady from Gadsden. Dollar had been at the shelter for 5 or 6 years. She was very old, and a lady took her, and she lasted about 6 weeks, and then she died peacefully at the lady's house. I mean, so that takes a certain kind of person. Same like these hospice nurses. Not everybody's cut out for that, but we need that kind of person who said, "Hey, you got a dog that's real old. We know that he's not going to be around for a long time. I want to take him into my home. I'll treat him right. I'll feed him everything, knowing that the end result is that dog's it's going out. But at least it went out in a home and not at the shelter."
Absolutely. And let's talk about the Cowboy Church for just a few minutes.
Okay.
So you and I were on the air one day. It's when we were doing live shows.
Mhm.
And so a lady called you from the Cowboy Church, and we had been talking about needing blankets to go out there. So a group of these ladies got together and sewed up a bunch of blankets and brought them out.
They did. When we get blankets, and we get a lot of them, they're all different sizes and all different thicknesses and everything. And we wanted to make them all, because just for storage. I mean, if we have them all the same size, we can stack them up and store them a lot easier. Plus, we kind of got a uniform set. And the ladies from the Cowboy Church, they came out, they got them. We didn't even see them. I saw a couple ladies that were in the group, but most of them we never even saw because they did it at the church. They took the blankets, they serged around the edges, they cut them all down to the size that we wanted, and that really helped. And we actually got their names. You count that as volunteer service. So I mean, once again, that's the Cowboy Church in Boaz. That's the group.
Sand Mountain Cowboy Church.
Yeah, they came over and as a group, and I mean, that's what's just cool. I mean, that's what it takes. I mean,
You weren't even asking for that. She just called you and said, "Can we have?" They have what they call crafting. They do it on Thursdays. Sometimes it's knitting. Sometimes it's sewing quilts. Sometimes it's doing different things. And they saw us on television and just said, "We want to."
Exactly. So that's what volunteers can be of any sort you want. Right now we have like I said, aluminum can drive going on. 1 million cans, if we collect it, would be around $11,000 to $12,000 for the shelter. And North Broad Street Church of Christ in Albertville, they're collecting for us. Parker Hannafin in Huntsville, Jacksonville, and Boaz, they're collecting. So if your group, or if you want to collect aluminum cans and get them to the shelter, that's another volunteer service.
And before you know it, you've collected a ton of cans.
Oh yeah, we're up to almost 100,000. We had 86,000, and then we almost got another load. So that's it's going to take a long time to get 1 million.
Can I ask you a question though? Would it be easier if people just crush them down a little bit? It won't take as much space for
It does. We've got 2 can crushers mounted at the shelter, and the kids that were taught to get caught vaping, and that's a lot of what they do. If they're not crushed when we get them, those kids will take care of it, and they actually kind of have fun doing it. I think that way we don't have to. If you're paying an employee to crush them, you're killing whatever money, because the can's not worth but about a penny. But use either volunteer labor, somebody wanting to do it, or semi-volunteer kids that kind of they get in a little trouble. They come out there, we put them to work crushing cans or whatever. That's one of the duties they get to do.
Let's talk about things you need for the shelter. I know you could probably use more houses and that kind of thing.
We can. We have a program called Second Chance Shelter, and our goal when we started it, every dog within 50 miles of that shelter, we'd want to have access to a home. Nothing, we can't control a dog in China or whatever, but we can control what happens within 50 miles of that shelter. So sometimes we get calls from postal workers or police or animal control and said, "Hey, here's a dog at this location that doesn't have a dog house." And most time they're on a chain, which I still say should be illegal. And we take a dog house, no questions asked. And then we try to open a conversation about getting the dog fixed, things like that. We've delivered 69, I believe, And yesterday we got a call, somebody needing 2 more. These are not new dog houses normally, they're used, but if you have a plastic dog house that you aren't using and want to donate to the shelter, that would be fantastic. If you see a dog that needs shelter, if you'll get us the address, that's pretty much what you got to provide, and let us know. We'll do our best to get them a dog house. No guarantees, because sometimes there's more demand, but we do really try to help. And the whole point of that program is within 50 miles of the shelter, every dog has some kind of shelter protection from the rain and cold or whatever. We've taken them to Ider and Rainsville and all the way across to Arab. We've delivered them, and we'll take them. And we're not there to confront the owner and tell them how sorry they are, because there may be a reason they
just
couldn't
kind of
afford
it
it.
or whatever.
Yeah, we're there to help give that dog shelter.
Now, does it need to be a plastic? Because I know the wooden, now some carpenters know how to make some pretty good wood ones.
They
Would you
do.
turn those
It
down?
really needs to be plastic, and the reason being, when we deliver, just to moving them, sometimes it might be 2 of the shelter women that come, and I'm not saying women are not strong enough to handle it, but if you got a dog house that weighs 200 pounds, that's a load. If you got the plastic, just a decent plastic dog house, that's what we prefer. It just makes it a lot easier to move them around. We've had people try to donate. Oh, I've got this doghouse I built and it weighs 1,000 pounds, and I don't have a
It's
forklift.
hard to do.
And we appreciate the offer, we really do. But just the movement factor. Normally we put them in our van, we'll bring them out and we'll deliver it. So yeah.
Now, are there other ways that you guys could earn money? I know that people have donated things to you. Or are you going to have any kind of a store or anything like that?
Well, we are definitely, we're in that. Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. Everything you make, it really does open some can for me, because we've got a backer who is going to help us fund the opening of a thrift store. We're looking for a location in the Boaz Albertville area. And of course, the main thing with a thrift store is location, location, location. So if anybody knows a landlord or a building in the Albertville Boaz area that would be a good location for a thrift store, if you'll call us at the shelter, we're needing that desperately. We've got the backing. A thrift store, to me, I think, is a no-brainer. I believe it would have.
Everybody knows me, knows I love thrift stores.
Oh, we do. Hey, this is a thrift store shirt right here. I think you want to pay $3 for this, and I love it. It's one of my favorite shirts. Thrift stores are definitely. I know there's a lot of them, but I think we would operate a top-notch thrift store, and it would be for an animal call. The first thing I do is find a good location. So if there's landlords or anybody in those areas. And it doesn't have to be Albertville Boaz, but at least close, because of the logistics of moving stuff from the shelter and all. We need a building. We need a good.
Now, what about donations? Not your junk now, but what about nice donations?
Of
Stuff for the store?
Stuff for the store. People are bringing stuff all the time now, and when it goes to storage, and we have a little consignment location at an antique store, but that's not the scale that we need. Oh yeah, once we get started, especially, we'll need all kinds of things donated, and we'll, just don't forget us, because we would probably be the only animal-oriented thrift store in the area that I'm aware of. So yeah, and you can.
I can't wait till you get started.
Oh, I can. And of course, Wanda's a shopper. I'm gonna have to keep her out of it.
Yeah, but it's nice to have a wife who's a thrift store shopper.
Yeah, I just don't want her to go up there and all of a sudden go, man, I can't.
What happened to everything?
Yeah, or that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I needed it at the house.
Yeah, our house, we won't be able to walk into it because
But
we got.
people, if they donate clothes, don't let it be grandmother's closet that you cleaned out that she hasn't been alive since like 10 years. But you're talking about things that are wearable now.
Oh, absolutely.
Clean stuff, not stained stuff.
Several years ago, Wanda, but just because of my size, my pant size changed rapidly. And so she bought me a pair of pants that were just way too big. And of course, she would normally take them back, but something happened and they never got taken back. Well, they're brand new. Now, I can't wear them because they'd be down around my ankles. But so, that kind of stuff is awesome for a thrift store.
Absolutely. Women lose and gain weight.
Oh, absolutely. Every woman I know probably has 18 different sizes of clothes in their thing, because of when they were younger, they grows. And of course, by the time they get back to them, they may not be quite what they want. All kinds of stuff.
So how soon is this going to happen? Because I'm going to be pressuring him, like every day I'm going to be calling him. Is it ready, Doug?
Yeah, my goal was at the end of April was my goal. We still have been having trouble connecting with a location. And that is prime. After that, it's a go. And then we've already got no telling how much stuff that we've just built up over the years. So we've got enough inventory to start one, and then we'll go from there. And I really believe I actually read the book on the Idiot's Guide for Opening a Thrift Store or a Thrift Store Opening for Dummies, something like that.
I love their books, by the way.
Oh, I do
Common
too.
sense stuff.
Everything, and it said 90% of thrift stores survive because they're good for any kind of economy. Things are good, rich people are giving good stuff. If things are bad, poor people are buying everything. So I believe we can make it. I believe we can really help fund the shelter. So location, if anybody knows of a good location in Alabama, it doesn't have to be, it could be Geraldine or somewhere like that, just somewhere within 10, 15 miles of the shelter. We need your help, and we will be a good tenant, I can assure you.
And they will. So I've known Doug and Wanda for a long time.
Yeah, we won't have dogs up there, if you're running, tearing up the store.
Yeah, that won't happen.
We might have dogs on events or something, but we'll do that. We'll keep whatever the landlord comes up with, we'll comply with.
Now, if anybody needs to get in contact with you or Wanda about anything, how do they get in contact with you?
The best way is our phone number, 256-561-2411, 561-2411. We try to answer our phone anytime during business hours. Facebook, 2ND Chance Shelter on Facebook, Second Chance Shelter. And there's several out there from different states. Ours is the one with the little doghouse with a paw print on it. That's the two best ways to contact us. You can send us an email at 2ndchanceshelter2008 at Gmail. I know you probably didn't get that. Go to our Facebook page. I'm telling you, that's the way to message us.
Just send me a message. Everybody's got my email. So just Donna at donnasedge.com. You send me emails all the time anyway. Just send an email and I'll get you there.
And if you're in the Boaz, Marshall County, or DeKalb County area, always welcome to drop by and meet us and tell us whatever and help us do whatever. So visiting is also very much
and also you can volunteer if you'd like to take it out of your check every month or just send a check. That can happen as well. For donations.
Yeah, we have, donations is how we survive. Money doesn't come for the government for animal shelters. So, our shelter's future and the future of all these dogs, about 1,000 a year go through our shelter. It all depends on animal people like us who can afford to help us out.
Absolutely. Doug, thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, absolutely.
We're still going to have to get Wanda out here.
You can't.
There is a Wanda.
There is
one.
But she's like lightning. She's moving 100 miles an hour doing what's got to be done.
Still anyway.
No, I can't. A lot of times I'm thinking, I'll say, the other day she said,
she is.
That's it. The other day I was coming in, she's going out, and she said something about two sheep who passed in the night or whatever. So.
That's about the way it goes. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Doug. Absolutely. And thank you so much for watching.
The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.